A wheelchair-bound girl quietly rolled into the animal shelter. She whispered, "I want to see the one who's most afraid." The staff exchanged uneasy glances. It was cage number 11. Inside sat Thunder, a massive German shepherd labeled a lost cause. He lunged at the bars, growling fiercely, pushing everyone away. No one dared approach. Even the most experienced volunteers kept their distance. Thunder was a wounded soul, trapped in fear and pain. Found abandoned in the basement of a deserted home, his neck bore the marks of a tight collar, and his body was covered with old scars. Since then, he shut everyone out, until today, when everything changed. The girl's name was Sasha. Her mother, a quiet woman with a tired face, had brought her here. Sasha couldn't walk. After a car crash, her legs stopped responding, but her eyes burned with strength and determination. She passed by hopeful dogs reaching out to her, but her gaze locked on the far end of the hall where Thunder breathed in the dim light. "I want to talk to him," she whispered. "He's dangerous," one staff member sighed. "He trusts no one," added another. But Sasha nodded firmly. "I didn't trust anyone either." Trembling with fear, her mother slowly wheeled her toward the shelter's scariest cage. As Sasha neared, Thunder sprang up, huge, black-tan, tense like a storm ready to break. His muscles twitched under his fur. He baring his teeth, and a heavy growl rolled across the bars like a thunderclap. Her mother stopped abruptly. "Sasha, please, don't," she whispered, gripping the wheelchair handle so tight her fingers turned white. Sasha didn't take her eyes off the cage. She wasn't staring at teeth, but into dark, painful eyes. Slowly, she rested her hands on the wheelchair's arms, leaned forward, and whispered, "You're just scared, aren't you?" Thunder growled louder, paws inching closer to the bars. His fur on the neck bristled. A shelter worker gasped and stepped forward, moving to cover the cage with a blanket. "No," Sasha said firmly. "He won't attack. He just doesn't believe." The adults exchanged wary looks. No one had ever gotten closer than a meter. Thunder even lunged at his food bowls. Yet there was something in this girl, her silence, the calm way she looked at him. "Hello," Sasha said softly. "My name is Sasha. I know you don't want to see me. I never wanted to be in this chair. I was angry and scared too." Thunder kept growling, but his ears twitched ever so slightly, a flicker almost invisible, but it was there, and Sasha saw it. "When I woke after the crash, I thought no one would want me anymore, that I was broken." Thunder froze, breathing heavily, staring straight into her eyes. His look shifted, from threatening to weary, as if he recognized the pain of being shattered. "But I was told my heart was still whole, even if my legs don't work. And you, Thunder, you're not angry. You're just tired of being alone." Her voice dropped to a whisper. The shelter fell so silent the drip of water from a faucet in the corner could be heard. And in that stillness, Thunder took a step, not a leap or a snarl, but a slow retreat, then lay down, resting his head on his paws. The mother gasped. Volunteers covered their mouths. "He understands you," a woman whispered. "He's giving up." Sasha reached out trembling fingers, stopping just centimeters from the bars. "May I just be here with you?" she asked softly, not expecting a reply. Thunder didn't move, but those eyes, once full of darkness, softened, a faint, almost imperceptible thaw. Sasha smiled, settling silently by the cage, breathing steady, sharing a quiet the dog seemed to understand better than words. Time passed. She didn't rush away. She sat, watching Thunder rest, his heavy breaths no longer threatening. The scars on his muzzle stood out in the dim light, like a statue carved from pain, closed off and burned inside, yet still alive. "Do you have scars too?" she asked quietly, rolling up her sleeve to show a thin scar on her forearm, a shard of glass from the crash. Her mother shivered, seldom hearing her speak of that night. But loneliness is worst, Sasha said gently, tracing the wheelchair's armrest. When you're alone, in the dark, thinking no one will ever come. Thunder lifted his head slightly. Volunteers held their breath. He was listening, not only with his ears but with his heart. Sasha stretched out her hand again, not to touch, but to let him know she was there. I'm not going anywhere, she said. I'm just here. A minute passed. Then another. Suddenly, movement. Thunder rose, his paws trembling, and stepped forward. Everyone froze, breath caught. He came up close to the bars, staring at her outstretched hand, his eyes mixing anxiety, hesitation, and something else. A struggle within himself. Sasha stayed still, whispering, "It's okay. I won't hurt you." Thunder touched her finger with his nose, a light, almost invisible brush. Then pulled away but didn't leave. He stayed. Sasha smiled. "Thank you. You're the bravest I know." Then the unexpected. Thunder leaned forward and gently rubbed his muzzle against her hand, once, twice. Testing if she'd vanish. Her mother couldn't hold back tears. "He's real," she whispered. "He's kind." Sasha stroked his coarse fur as if touching something sacred. "You're not scary. Just hurt. And I know how that feels." Thunder sighed, a long, deep breath. His eyes, heavy with fatigue, flickered with a spark saying, "I don't want to be alone anymore." Shelter staff could barely believe what they were witnessing. The woman who fed Thunder for months whispered through her tears, he wouldn't even come near his bowl. Now, he trusted. Sasha looked at her mother without moving her hand. "Can we stay a little longer?" Her mother nodded quietly, speechless. For the first time in a long while, Sasha felt no fear. For the first time in a long while, Thunder held no anger. They were simply two lonely souls who heard each other. Over an hour passed. Sasha still sat by the cage, gently stroking Thunder's muzzle. He no longer growled or pulled away, lying with his side pressed to the cold bars, breathing slow and deep. Sometimes trembling, like recalling what he'd hidden for years. Sasha's mother sat nearby, watching her daughter whom she'd long seen only sad and withdrawn finally smile, not a forced smile, but a light igniting from deep within. The shelter lay in a sacred silence. People stopped whispering, afraid to break a moment too profound to explain. "We have to record this," a young volunteer whispered, pulling out a phone. "No," the shelter manager softly placed a hand on his shoulder. "This isn't for cameras. It's for them." Minutes later, Sasha spoke again. "You weren't always like this, were you?" Thunder half opened his eyes. His ears twitched. He seemed to hear her not with ears, but with his heart. "I was angry when I couldn't walk. It felt like I wasn't me, that it was over." She sighed. "At school, kids stopped playing with me. Some pitied me, some laughed. I wanted to disappear." Thunder slowly turned his head, gaze sharp. "You hid your pain too?" "Yes," he seemed to say, crawling closer until his wet nose brushed her wheelchair wheel. He wasn't afraid anymore. He was searching. "You know," she said, "my mom told me I'm strong, but I didn't feel strong until today." She stroked him between the ears, and Thunder growled softly, not with anger, but a raspy sound, as if surprised he'd allow it. "Do you know I might fall if you jerk suddenly?" Sasha smiled. "But I'm here anyway, because you're my friend now." Then something incredible happened. Thunder rose, circled the cage from inside, and suddenly barked once, loud, clear, not threatening or angry, but like saying, "I'm here. I'm alive." Sasha was startled, then laughed, her voice ringing through the hall like chimes. Her mother rushed over. "Is he okay?" He said, "Hello, Sasha said, pressing her forehead to the bars. That evening, just before closing, staff offered to escort Sasha out, but she refused. "He thinks I'll leave him like the others," she said. "But I won't let him be alone in the dark." The manager paused, then sighed deeply. "Wait a minute," she said, returning with papers. "If you're sure, we can start the adoption process. He's a difficult dog. You can't just take him and go." Sasha's mother took the documents but looked at her daughter. "Do you really want him?" Sasha nodded. Thunder sat by the bars, staring at the girl like afraid it was all a dream. "He's like me," she said softly. "Not angry, just hurt. And we can heal each other." Days later, Sasha returned, not as a visitor but as his owner. For the first time since Thunder arrived, his cage opened and he stepped out uncertainly, step by step, as if doubting he wouldn't be sent back. He approached Sasha and laid his head on her lap. Everyone held their breath. Sasha stroked his neck, embracing him as much as her posture allowed, whispering, "Welcome home, Thunder." He growled softly, not fear, but a sigh of relief. Since then, they've been inseparable. Thunder walked beside her wheelchair in the yard, waited by the door after school, laid down when pain came, and Sasha's smile returned, more and more every day. Townfolk called it a miracle, but Sasha's mother knew it wasn't. It was a meeting of two souls, lost and broken, who found each other. One quiet morning, the sun rising to paint asphalt gold, Sasha rolled out of her building as every Sunday. Her wheelchair carried a green bag with treats and a ball. Thunder waited like a sentinel by the door, back straight, gaze sharp. But when he saw her, all sternness vanished. His tail wagged and eyes sparkled. He touched her hand with his nose and they set off, an unbreakable tradition. A walk through the park, past the lake where old pensioners gathered at dawn, past the shop where the vendor smiled and slipped Thunder a sausage in a paper bag. "Good morning, Sasha," a woman from a balcony greeted. "Hello, Thunder. Keeping watch?" Sasha waved, while Thunder stepped steady alongside, matching the rhythm of her wheels. No one believed this dog was once called dangerous. Now he hugged children, lay beside elders, guarded Sasha at every turn. But only she knew his nights. When the apartment grew still and Thunder lay by her bed, sighing long and heavy. He remembered. He was afraid. But now, he wasn't alone. "We survived," Sasha whispered, stroking his head. And that was all that mattered. A month after becoming family, her teacher asked students to draw what changed their lives. Some drew siblings, bikes, but Sasha drew a cage, a blank cage, beside her wheelchair and a big dog with wise eyes. "This is Thunder," she said. "He was alone. I was alone. But now we're together, and everything will be all right." Her teacher looked long, wiped tears, and pinned the drawing on the board. "Sometimes the most wounded become our greatest heroes," he said. That evening, Sasha and her mother returned to the shelter, bringing food, warm blankets, and a box labeled, "For those still waiting." Thunder walked calmly beside them, confident and calm. At his old cage, where he'd spent 6 long months, he stopped, sniffed the bars, and barked once. Not out of fear or anger, it was goodbye. Sasha bent down. "You'll never come back here again, I promise." As they left, a 6-year-old boy approached, nervously eyeing Thunder. "May I pet him?" he asked. Sasha nodded. Thunder sniffed the boy and gently nudged his palm with his nose. The boy laughed. "He's magical," he shouted. Sasha smiled. "Yes, magical, not fairy tale magic, but real." Back home, Sasha looked out the window as the sun set. She stroked Thunder's neck and whispered, "You were afraid no one would love you. But now we're loved, together." Thunder sighed and lay at her feet. He was home. And in this small town, once gray and silent, everyone knew the story. A girl named Sasha and a dog named Thunder walked through darkness, and their friendship sparked a light that shone not just for them, but for everyone learning to believe again. Add to follow-up check sources.